As I sit here today looking back at my life, I still can't believe I was once so poor that I had to count every penny to buy bread. And now at 45, I can honestly say that money is no longer a concern for me. But this journey didn't happen overnight, and I want to share with you the true story of an ordinary man who learned invaluable lessons from the book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I was born into a middle-class family. My father was a highly educated engineer. My mother was a teacher. Throughout my childhood, I heard the phrase, "You must study hard, find a stable job with a high salary," and I believed it blindly. I went to university, graduated with an engineering degree, found a job at a large company with a decent salary. According to my parents' logic, I had succeeded. But strangely, even though my salary increased from $800 to $1,500, then $2,500, I still felt poor. I still had to wait until the end of the month to have money, still worried about unexpected expenses. And I asked myself, why am I still like this? Why do street vendors seem more financially confident than an engineer like me? The first turning point happened when I was 28. I ran into Mike, an old college friend. He wasn't as good a student as me, and even dropped out in his third year to do business. But when we met again, he was driving a BMW, wearing expensive suits, and most importantly, there was a confidence radiating from his eyes. I asked him what he did, and he just smiled and said, "I make money work for me, not me working for money." At that time, I didn't understand what this meant. I only knew that I was working for money. 8 hours a day, Monday through Friday, sometimes Saturday too. I was selling my time and health for a salary. But Mike was different. He could go on vacation for a week and still have money coming into his account. I became curious. Why was there this difference? Why do people with high degrees work for people without degrees? Why don't schools teach about money? These questions kept haunting me. One day, browsing Facebook, I saw a review of the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I bought it with the mindset of just trying it out. And that book completely changed my perspective on money. Author Robert Kiyosaki told about his two fathers, one highly educated but poor, one who only studied until 8th grade but wealthy. And I realized my father was exactly that, poor dad. He always said, "I can't afford it," instead of asking, "How can I afford it?" He saw money as evil, saw rich people as bad, and he had passed that mindset to me. The first lesson I learned was about emotions. I realized I was controlled by two emotions, fear and greed. Fear made me cling to a stable job even though I wasn't happy. Greed made me think that a higher salary would solve all problems. But in reality, I was in what's called the rat race, an endless rat race. I started observing the rich people around me. My company's owner only showed up a few times a month, but earned more than all employees combined. Why? Because he owned the system, not working within the system. So I started learning about the concepts of assets and liabilities. Before, I thought the house I was living in was an asset, but actually it was a liability because it took money out of my pocket every month. Bank mortgage payments, utilities, repair costs. Real assets are things that put money into my pocket. That's when I suddenly understood why I was still poor despite having a high salary, because I kept buying liabilities and thinking they were assets. I bought expensive cars to show off to friends, bought large apartments for investment, bought expensive watches and bags. All were liabilities, all took money out of my pocket. I decided to change. Instead of buying a new car, I used that money to buy stocks of a company with stable dividends. Instead of eating at expensive restaurants, I spent that money learning about real estate investment courses. People around me thought I was crazy, but I knew I was going in the right direction. The first 6 months, nothing changed. I still had to go to work, still had to receive salary, but I started having small income from dividends, from interest, $100, $200 per month. Not much money, but those were the first dollars that didn't come from selling my time. I continued learning. I read books about accounting to understand financial statements. I learned about taxes to know how to legally reduce taxes. I took courses on investing, on starting businesses. Every month I spent at least 20% of my income investing in myself, buying books, taking courses, attending seminars. One thing I realized was the importance of networking. I started joining investment clubs, networking events. I met experienced people, people willing to share, and most importantly, I met opportunities. The first opportunity came to me after a year. Henry, someone I knew from the investment club, had an apartment that needed to be sold urgently. The selling price was only 70% of market value, but I didn't have enough cash. Instead of giving up, I thought of another way. I found another investor with money, proposed cooperation. I would find opportunities and manage. He would provide money. Split profits in half. The result was that after 3 months, we sold that apartment for 40% higher than the purchase price. My profit share was $15,000. That was the largest amount I had ever earned without selling my time. From then on, I understood one thing. Money is not the problem. Ideas are the problem. If you have good ideas, someone will be willing to provide money. If you only have money but no ideas, you will soon lose money. I started focusing on creating passive income streams. Instead of just buying stocks to wait for price increases, I bought stocks of companies that pay regular dividends. Instead of buying houses to live in, I bought houses to rent out. Little by little, my passive income streams increased. In the second year, my passive income reached $800 per month. Still not enough for me to quit my job, but enough to make me feel freer. I was no longer afraid of losing my job. I could say no to projects I didn't like. I could negotiate salary from a stronger position. But the biggest lesson I learned wasn't about investment techniques, but about mindset. I learned how to pay yourself first. Every time I received salary, I took out 20% to invest immediately before paying any bills. This created positive pressure, forcing me to find ways to earn more money if I was short on bill payments. I also learned the importance of understanding law and taxes. When I established my own company, I could legally reduce taxes by turning many personal expenses into business expenses. This helped me save tens of thousands of dollars in taxes each year. In the third year, a big opportunity came to me. The company I worked for wanted to expand into a new field, but lacked experienced people. Instead of asking for a raise, I proposed establishing a subsidiary, and I would be a partner. I would operate this subsidiary, receiving a share of profits instead of a fixed salary. The proposal was accepted, and that was the major turning point in my life. From an employee receiving salary, I became a small business owner. My income was no longer limited by salary level, but depended on business efficiency. The first 2 years were very difficult. There were months I earned less than when I was employed. But I learned a lot about managing people, about marketing, about sales, about financial management. These skills were invaluable, couldn't be learned in any university or company. By the 5th year, the subsidiary had stable profits. My income from this company was 3 times my old salary. But more importantly, I had built a system that could operate without my constant presence. Now at 45, I can say I've escaped the rat race. Passive income from investments and profits from business are enough for me to live comfortably without needing to work. But I still continue working out of passion, not necessity. I'm often asked, "What's your secret?" And I always answer, there's no magic secret, only simple principles that I applied consistently. First, change your mindset about money. Don't see money as evil or think that all rich people are bad. Money is just a tool, and you need to learn how to use this tool. Second, clearly distinguish assets from liabilities. Assets put money in your pocket, liabilities take money out of your pocket. Focus on buying assets, limit buying liabilities. Third, invest in financial education. Knowledge is the most profitable investment. Read books, take courses, learn from successful people. Fourth, build a network. Opportunities often come from people, not from internet or newspapers. Make friends with positive people who have similar aspirations as you. Fifth, start with what you have. Don't wait until you have enough money to start. Start with $100, $500. The important thing is to start. Sixth, learn to manage risk. Investment always has risks, but not investing is even riskier. Learn to measure and manage risk instead of avoiding it. Seventh, be patient and persistent. Wealth doesn't come overnight. It needs time to accumulate. Be persistent with long-term plans. I remember once, when I first started investing, I lost money because I bought stocks of a company without thorough research. I lost $5,000, a large amount for me at that time. Many people advised me to stop, saying investment was too risky. but I considered it tuition. I learned a valuable lesson about the importance of research before investing. One more thing I want to emphasize: don't try to get rich quickly. Get rich quick programs are usually scams. Real wealth comes from creating value for society. When you solve problems for many people, money will come to you naturally. I also learned the importance of giving. When I started having money, I began helping those less fortunate. I sponsored scholarships for poor students, invested in social projects. The strange thing is, the more I gave, the more I received. Today, looking back at the 17-year journey, I'm grateful for the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad that opened my eyes. It didn't just teach me about money, but also about life. It taught me that financial freedom isn't about having a lot of money, but about having choices. Now, I can choose to do what I like, not what I'm forced to do. I can spend time with family, on hobbies, on meaningful things. That's exactly what money brings. Not happiness, but freedom to seek happiness. If you're in your 20s, 25, 30, and feeling stuck with your current life, start changing from today. Don't wait until you're 40 like me to start. Time is the most precious asset, and compound interest needs time to work its magic. Start by reading Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Then read more books about personal finance. Join courses, investment clubs. Start investing even with small amounts. Most importantly, change the way you think about money. Don't say, "I don't have money to invest." Ask, "How can I get money to invest?" Don't say, "Investment is too risky." Ask, "How can I minimize risk?" Don't say, "I don't know anything about business." Ask, "Where can I learn about business?" The difference between rich and poor people lies in how they ask questions. Poor people look for reasons not to do. Rich people look for ways to make it happen. Finally, I want to tell you, the journey from poor to rich isn't just about money. It's about becoming the best version of yourself. It's about overcoming fear, about continuous learning, about daring to take calculated risks. I was once an ordinary engineer, living day by day with a fixed salary, and now I own multiple businesses, have stable passive income. If I could do it, you can too. The only thing needed is determination and action. Start your journey today. Your financial future depends on the decisions you make in the present. And remember, it's never too late to start, but the sooner you start, the better. Wishing you success on your path to financial freedom.